Hey, sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard here. So, if ticket sales tell me anything, it's that I'm one of the few people that sat through 2015's Fantastic Four. And after this movie finished, I had two thoughts. The first was,
What the hell was that?
and the second was, has there been anything good done with the Fantastic Four franchise outside the comics? When I think about it, there's no pinnacle well, that wasn't good, but check out this. This is the Fantastic Four, man. This is the awesome one. Check this out. I couldn't think of anything that was like, this is the good Fantastic Four. But they've been around for 50 years. There has to be something good, right? They can't all be garbage. And when I ask people, what's your favorite Fantastic Four thing? It's usually this or this. So, what's so hard about making Fantastic Four good? So, I took some time and set out to find the Fantastic Four good one. What's the good Fantastic Four thing? What's the cartoon that's the good one? Does it exist? Well, come with me and we'll find out. A little bit of history. In 1961, Martin Goodman, head of Marvel Comics, found that DC was having a real success with the Justice League of America. So he went to his editor-in-chief, Stan Lee, and said, hey, make a superhero team because this one's doing good, so you should do one. So Stan Lee, I'm pretty sure, was just like,
Excelsior!
and the Fantastic Four, in a sense, was born. So, contrary to popular belief, Avengers wasn't Marvel's answer to the Justice League. The Fantastic Four was. So Stan Lee wrote down some ideas for a team that would be the super team, and he wanted to make a family. So he wrote down some ideas, gave it to Jack Kirby, who drew out the idea for the Fantastic Four. And in November 1961, we get the first appearance of the Fantastic Four, the first family of comics, in Fantastic Four #1. Simple enough, easy enough. And this is known as one of the pinnacles of the return of superheroes, as well as kind of the start of the Silver Age of comics. It was amazingly popular, so something else being done with it was going to happen eventually. In 1967, Hanna-Barbera bought the rights to the Fantastic Four to make a cartoon and aired it on ABC. This cartoon lasted 20 episodes, one season, and it is exactly everything that you would expect from a 1960s Hanna-Barbera TV show. It has that real feel like the Scooby-Doos from that time. It's that exact everything you expect. It's cheesy, it's cheaply done, but it's still enduringly lovable. There's something about it, you can't hate it. And it's actually really fun to riff on and kind of see the goofy things they say and talk about. And it's it's the everything solved in 30 minutes. Simple, easy comic book stuff. It's not great, but it's enduringly lovable. Something about it, I just can't hate it. Obviously, other people didn't think the same. It only lasted 20 episodes, which at that time, it's not necessarily bad. It's not good, but it's not bad. So in 1978, the Fantastic Four resurfaced again, this time done by Marvel itself through a subsidiary. And they came up with the Fantastic Four, or as is also known, the New Fantastic Four. 13-episode season ran in 1978, and it has all our favorites in it.
Reed Richards into the plastic-skinned Mr. Fantastic. Sue Richards into the Now You See Her, Now You Don't, Invisible Girl. And Ben Grimm into a mighty muscled powerhouse called The Thing. Now together with Herbie the Robot, the newest member of the group.
Wait, what?
Herbie the Robot.
One more time?
Herbie the Robot.
Herbie? Herbie? For those not in the know, Herbie is like the Jarvis of the Fantastic Four. It's an AI that's sometimes a robot that helps them out with things. But he's not on the team. Where's Johnny? What happened with Johnny? Oh, wait, hold on. I'm acting like I'm being told something. Okay, so apparently the rights for the Human Torch were sold off to make a solo series for the Human Torch that was never made to fruition. So they decided just to go ahead and go on and throw Herbie on the team. That's just weird. Why would... It's the Fantastic Four. It's got a very specific team. It's not like the X-Men that's got millions of people you can throw people in and out. That's the Fantastic Four. Weird. This is a bad show. It was 13 episodes, and it's dull. It's cheap. It's not even fun to riff on. It looks a lot like the original C-Lab cartoon before they redubbed it. It's very bad. The Thing's just spouting off catchphrases. Herbie's trying to be a smart aleck, but it doesn't work. It's just a mess. This is a bad version of the Fantastic Four. It was a chore to get through these. It really sucked. And obviously people agreed with me because it didn't last long. It was dumped very quickly, and we didn't hear back from the Fantastic Four for a long time. So throughout most of the 80s, comics kind of went into hibernation. Not the comics themselves, but TV shows, movies, cartoons, a lot of that kind of died out. Because they just weren't seen as profitable, or they're seen as cheesy or kid stuff. Like, it just wasn't done anymore. Of course, that was until 1989 when Batman just breathed life back into comics in the best way. And all of a sudden people were like, oh, these can be good, because not only was Batman good, but it was profitable. It was the highest grossing movie for the longest time. So, obviously people are going to start doing these, and so cartoons were being bought up at the time, and so in 1992 we get the most loved and Marvel's first big hit as a cartoon is the X-Men. And this was great. Everyone loved the X-Men. So Marvel decided to expand on this and create the Marvel Action Hour, a 1 hour block of shows that was Iron Man, and then followed by Fantastic Four. Interesting idea. This series of Fantastic Four is the only one to hit 2 seasons, although it is only 26 episodes, so they're short 13 episode seasons. But something really interesting happened with this one. So in the first season, it's incredibly cheesy. That song I used before, that is the opening song for this, not the 70s or 60s one. That's the 1994 theme song. What were they thinking with that? And it's not just the theme song. It's a really cheesy show. They got like a landlady that's always getting mad at them for doing things, and the Thing is just, again, spouting out catchphrases. It's a lot like the 70s show, but in 94. Like, it's just so bad and cheesy. It's terrible. Oh, it's some of the worst because I know the time that it's in, and it's like there was so much better stuff going on. Why are we doing this? But here's where the interesting thing happens. Somewhere between season 1 and season 2, someone took the writers and was like, hey, we're doing this with X-Men. What are you doing? And something happened, and season 2 is almost a completely different show. The animation is the same, but actually But the animation was always pretty good with this show. So the animation stayed the same. It got a little darker, which is good, but everything else is completely different. They have the same voice actors, but a lot of the villains are different. It's got more complex, interesting storylines. It's got characters that are awesome. Like, this was good. Man. Like, they really stepped it up second season. I don't know what got into them, but it's good. They changed the intro. They changed everything. It's fantastic. It's awesome, man. I am pumped. Oh, man. What do I get to talk about next with Fantastic Four? Oh, yeah. So, in 1994 as well, there is Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. This version of Fantastic Four is the most widely released, unreleased movie of all time. Seriously, it is so easy to get a hold of if you really want to see this, and you should. There's something weird about this movie. Actually, before I made this episode, I was going to have a whole bit about someone needs to make a documentary about this because it's so interesting. But someone did. It hasn't been released yet, but Doom: The Untold Story of Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. It looks great. I can't wait to see this. I think it still needs funding, so support them. It's gonna be great. I need to see this. Oh man, I need to see this. So, like I said, it's unreleased. I'll give you some things and rumors that I've heard. Because that was the interesting part about this. Not so much that it was made and unreleased. Sometimes that happens. But it was fully made, edited, special effects, and then even promoted. But then never released. What happened? One of the biggest things that was said that why this happened was it was just to hold on to the rights. But that's weird. Because they threw $1 million at this and promoted it. Not to release it. Why would you do all that work and then not release it? I don't know if this theory holds any water. The other theories mostly revolve around people at different levels seeing this movie and going, wow, this is a piece of shit. We're not releasing this. My favorite, of course, being Stan Lee basically saying that, which is uncharacteristic for Stan Lee, but it's hard to believe now, but Marvel had a really hard time making movies in the 90s. There's a couple attempts at Captain America. There was a Punisher. I think there was a Spider-Man in there somewhere. Like, their only decent one was the made-for-TV Hulk movie that was the pilot for the 70s show. Like, they had garbage coming out. Marvel had a really hard time making movies. And I just imagine, Stan Lee finally seeing this like, oh, I'm tired of all this crap coming into me. We're not releasing this. My name has to be on something better than this. Like I said, this movie was actually promoted and had trailers, which for me made me sound crazy for years. So I saw the trailer for this. I don't remember what it was attached to, but I saw the trailer for Fantastic Four, and I begged my mom to go rent this movie. So we go out to all these different movie stores looking for Fantastic Four. It doesn't exist. No, everyone looked at me like I was crazy. Like, did I make up this trailer? Like, what's going on here? That can't be right. Like, it was there, I swear. There was this movie. And then finally, as the internet grew and stuff got leaked, I finally started seeing the trailer again and pictures. And finally, like 15 years later, I get to see this movie that I swear existed and I know existed, and it's right here. I get to see it. Oh, it's terrible. Oh, God. Okay, this is like a lovably bad movie. It's like The Room or Birdemic. Like, it's so goofy and bad. But these people are trying so hard to make a good movie, but it just fails. Oh man, it's actually good to see and kind of riff on and really just check it out. Like, get some beers with friends and check this one out. It's bad, but so funny. Whenever there's the reveal of the Thing, and it's like obviously meant to be this big reveal of this huge effect they did, like, I just can't stop laughing. Like, you just see his face, and you're like, what the fuck is that? What am I watching? Oh, man. Move on. All right, next movie. So, obviously, Batman and Robin and Steel killed comics for a while. 97, 98 was the death of comics. Even in stores for comics themselves, but mostly movies, TV shows, cartoons, they were all dead. We didn't get anything comic related until X-Men in 2000, which finally shook comic back up again. And yes, I know about Blade, but come on, Blade wasn't doing anything for comics. I'm sorry. X-Men is what brought comic movies back. And so once that hit and made money, man, everyone started buying comic properties again. In 20th Century Fox, who made X-Men, bought Fantastic Four and decided to release a movie. And this one's probably the most well-known and honestly most liked, I guess, version of Fantastic Four. And for me, it's a bit of a guilty pleasure. It's a fun romp of a movie, I guess. I really like the cast, with some exceptions, which I'll get to in a second. But Michael Chiklis as the Thing, he lobbied a lot to play the Thing, and you can really tell he enjoyed being the Thing. And I also like the Thing costume. Now, I know it looks a lot like a foam costume a fair amount of times, but if you imagine what CG was like in 2005, I think going with a costume was a way better choice than trying to make a CG thing at the time. It would have looked like shit. And it would have looked even worse now. So I'm glad what they did. And Chris Evans, Captain freaking America being the Human Torch in his younger days, that's great. He loved that role. And even the guy who played Mr. Fantastic was great. But they get whose ever amazing idea was to hire Jessica Alba as Sue Storm. I'm sorry, Jessica. You're a pretty face. And Sue Storm is more than a pretty face. You're not a good actor. And you're not good as Sue Storm. She is terrible and obviously made to be a pretty face. They always get her in her underwear, and her costume's got boobas, and it's bad. She's not good. But even worse than her is the freaking Nip Tuck guy as Doctor Doom. He is just awful as Doctor Doom. Oh, he's the worst. Man, I can't even get into it. He's just bad. But beyond those things, it's actually kind of a fun, enjoyable, goofy movie, and did well. It's actually sitting at 36 at the highest grossing comic book movies, which isn't too bad. It actually beat out X-Men First Class. It's sitting right on top of that. So it did pretty well. So based on, the success of Fantastic Four the movie, they decided to make another cartoon in Cartoon Network. Fantastic Four, World's Greatest Heroes. This one takes a very interesting look at it. It's done in a very anime style, but by a French company. So it's a French anime, or a franime, if you will. It's actually not too bad. It's got my favorite Sue Storm. Not only the look of her is great, but her personality is amazing. But not to say this is the pinnacle. It's got some bad stuff. Johnny is the cool kid. He's spouting out all the catchphrases, and he's just too cool. And along with that, the whole thing has an era of, this is the cool Fantastic Four, guys. This isn't your mom and dad's. This is the cool one for the cool kids. Come on, we're all cool. Cool! And the other kind of goofy part, and I get this a lot whenever I talk about this version, is this. Not the Thing himself. Zoom in. Yeah, he spray painted the 4 on his chest. That's weird. And it's never addressed in the show, and it looks weird in shots. It's weird. Don't do that. Why did they do that? Ugh. But overall, it's actually a pretty good one. It's 26 episodes, 1 season. It's worth a check out. Check it out. Give it a shot. Come on. What are you doing? So, man, we got, a pretty fun movie. Not the greatest, but a pretty fun movie. A pretty fun cartoon show. Man, they're just getting better. What's next for the Fantastic Four? I can't wait. Why? Why? So, yes, Rise of the Silver Surfer. The first movie kind of built up to a good sequel. I mean, there wasn't any trailing storylines, but it felt like we have all this other stuff out of the way, so now number 2 is going to be kick-ass. We're ready to go. We know these characters. We know their powers. Let's do this. Let's kick some ass. Oh, God. Oof. No. This was even supposed to be a springboard for a solo Silver Surfer movie, and no, I'm not going to get that. The worst part about this movie, though, beyond it just taking all the bad stuff from the first one and just placing it right back into this one, not fixing it at all, is it's really bad missed opportunities. Like, they could have done something, but they didn't. And not just as a whole, but little moments could have been great. The introduction of the Fantastic Car would have been amazing, and then it was a freaking ad for Dodge. Okay, well, we showed, Doctor Doom again. And from the actions of the first movie, now he's all gnarled and gross, and his face is weird, and he looks kind of crazy. Like, oh man, this is the Doctor Doom. Yeah. Nope, we're gonna fix that. Now he's just the freaking Nip Tuck guy again. Son of a bitch. All right. Oh, well, we got the famous Doug Jones as the body of the Silver Surfer, and we have Morpheus as the voice. And he's a great character, man. He is good. The Silver Surfer in this is great. They don't do anything with him. And that's this whole movie's just frustratingly missed opportunities. They introduce Galactus, who's this giant world eater, and he's just a cloud. Now, I'm going to live in a world where he's inside that cloud and you just don't see him. Don't crash my world. He's in that cloud, I swear. You can see him, I think. Look really, really close. But yeah, this movie's just missed opportunities and killed the Fantastic Four again. Like, this is attributed to the show getting canceled. It killed the Fantastic Four for 8 years. So I've talked a lot about the Fantastic Four crap movie that came out this year. So I did a whole review. Check out that review if you want. So I'm not going to get into the specifics. I want to talk about the interesting steps that led up to this as a fan. So obviously Marvel's going through this huge renaissance, not only in their own Marvel Studios, but there are other things. X-Men being handled by 20th Century Fox is finally doing some cool stuff. So like, oh, okay, well, all right, Fantastic Fours with 20th Century. They're handling X-Men well. What's going to happen? And they announce a Fantastic Four movie, and we're like, sweet, we're on board. And, they just did, First Class, The Wolverine, and now Days of Future Past. All right, Fantastic Four, let's do this. And then they announced the director, Josh Trank. Sweet, I loved what he did in Chronicle. This is going to be great. I'm super on board. Like, everyone's pumped. This movie can't be bad, right? Right? And then we get all the leaks. All the leaks. Oh, God. So, we get the set shots of the Thing and Doctor Doom. And the Thing looks like shit. And Doctor Doom is a crash dummy covered in burnt garbage. Well, it can still be good, right? We can still do this. Those are just stand-ins. That's not what they're really going to be. Why hasn't there been a trailer? And yes, it took forever for a trailer to come out for this. Why? We eventually learn that it's due to intensive reshoots that had to happen for this movie. So we finally get a trailer. Okay, this looks pretty good. All right, well, I'm on board. So there's a little bit of an upswing for it. All right, let's do this. And then we have the critic blackout. No reviews about this movie are allowed to be released until the movie comes out. Shit, this is going to be bad, isn't it? And it was. Whoever's doing the Doomed movie of the 94 one, you need to have a sequel for what happened with this movie. There are so many weird behind-the-scene things that happened with this. It needs to be looked into. I want to see what happened with 2015's Fantastic Four. Why? It wasn't an accident. It was that bad. You can't be that bad on accident. It was on purpose. So, did I find a good Fantastic Four in all this? Well, okay, there's not like the pinnacle, like, yes, this is the Fantastic Four. They don't have a Dark Knight or First Class or Spider-Man 2. They don't have the pinnacle Fantastic Four. But there are some consolation prizes. The second season of the show in 94 is definitely worth checking out and is great. And you don't have to see the first season to get the second season. Nothing transfers over, so just watch the second season. And World's Greatest Heroes is serviceable as well. So we get, about 30, almost 40 episodes of a cartoon that's pretty good. It's not amazing, but it's pretty good. All right. And, the 67 cartoon and the 94 are great to watch and kind of laugh at the goofiness of how cheesy and bad they are. So there's that as well. So I found a couple kind of gems in this dog turd of a franchise. I'm not happy with what I got, but it's something. So yeah, check those, so there's something that was done. What does the future hold for the Fantastic Four? I don't know. They obviously canceled the second movie that was supposed to come out, and it's kind of in limbo again. Obviously, they have a time where they need to have another movie in production before the rights revert back to Marvel, or they might just sell them back right. A cool idea I've heard, it's not a real thing, it's a fan theory. I think I heard it on the Weekly Planet, and it's pretty cool. It's not my idea, but I'm just going to throw it out there. That is pretty awesome. If it goes back to Marvel, a cool idea was to make it in the 60s. Like, make it cheesy and retro. And, that's where they fit. And we just haven't heard of them because it's government cover-up. And, that would lead to having an older Reed Richards in Sue and maybe a Johnny in, the current, universe. And just have this kind of cheesy background. And I like that, to kind of, make it a richer universe and having a past. Will that happen? I don't know. Probably not. But I can hope. So, I love the Fantastic Four. I really want a good version. I don't know if I'll ever get it. I got some things that are okay, but no, we haven't gotten a solid good one. So, I'm Sexy Matt the Pharaoh Wizard, and until next time, hold on to your hold slot.